Now we have a frame which is just a blue square, but it's really not that special. It's just a div. If we inspect it, we can see that this is just a div with a whole bunch of like inline style set. To be more precise, it's like a glorified div that allows us to do some cool tricks. You'll see a bit later. Don't forget that we're here to make a toggle. So if we look at our toggle, it's a circle inside a longer shape like this. Because the frame is just a div, we can just put stuff inside, right? Let's go over here, put another frame inside this frame. So we have a frame that is inside another frame. Now let's set the size of the inner frame to be like 60. And set its border radius to 30. And now it'll become a circle if you look at the preview. Now for the container frame, it's supposed to be the track of the toggle, right? So we're gonna say, its width is equal to 120 and height is equal to 60, okay? Now we're gonna set the same border radius for the container as well. So that looks like pretty close to the toggle except the colors, like right here. Let's look closely how this works. We've set width, height, and border radius, and this size attribute of the two frames. Remember I said frames are just divs, right? But in HTML, div doesn't have these attributes, right? So if we try to set them on a div, there would be no effect. That's why I said frames are like glorified divs. We can use these and many other attributes on a frame. Now if we inspect what we have here, so over here, right inside the body, and this is the first frame, and this is the second frame, which is that circle. You see that they both have a whole bunch of inline style set. So you see, a frame actually converts these attributes with height or border radius, etc., into inline styles in that div. But would it work if we just set inline styles for the frames as if they're div tags? The answer is yes. But the format for setting inline styles in JSX is different from that of HTML. So in HTML, if we were to set a inline style, we can do style quotes and something like width, 100 px, which is for pixel, right? But now if we get an error, if you can see on the right. So the correct format in JSX for setting the inline style is supposed to be like this: double curly brackets with, let's say, 120. And now if I delete this with 120 on line number 9, and it'll still work the same. The toggle looks exactly as what it looks like before. This style attribute works on div as well, or actually any other kind of HTML element. So I can, for example, copy the whole thing over here, line number 8. And the change is invisible because, let's do something. Let me just add a background color to make it like orange. And then it's still not visible because the height of the div is 0. So let's just change its height to something like 120. And then if you look at the preview, we've got an orange box, right? So there are two ways to style a frame. One way is this style attribute here. It actually works on divs as well. It works on frames because frames are divs too. The second way is via these separated, style attributes. such as width, height, border radius. They are more convenient, but they only work on frames. They don't work on divs. You can find a list of all supported attributes in Framer's official document. Now, if you click frame over here and layout, and there are a lot of different kind of attributes that we can use, and you can find the examples of how to use them on this page.